Okay, this is chapter 7.8, subtracting with renaming. Um, we're going to have to do some work here. This may take us a little while, but I'll try to go quick. First of all, we have a story problem that talks about three people that rode their bikes. The first person, Chase, rode his bike for 3 hours. And so this kind of represents Chase, 0, 1, 2, and 3 hours. And then we had the second person, Chandler, rode for 2 1/4 of an hour. So if we were to kind of fill this in, we'd be able to say that, uh, Chandler rode it for 1, 2, and 1/4. Looks like this, 2 and 1/4. And then the third person, Bruce, wrote it for 1 3/4. Let's go ahead and write that in. So what 1 is all the way over there's 1, and 3/4 would be 3 of the next one. And we're looking for what the difference is. The difference is, the question says, how much longer did Chandler ride her bike than did Bruce? So this is Chandler, and this is Bruce. And if we just look at this, we can see the difference. This is this long, 2 1/4, and Bruce rode for 1 3/4. And that leaves 2/4 left. So if we were to take 2 1/4 and subtract 1 3/4, we would get 2/4, which is the same as 1/2. Okay, now looking at a model, it's pretty easy. But if we try to subtract using the regular methods, 2 1/4 minus 1 3/4, we run into a problem that we can't subtract 3 from 1. 3 can't leave 1. Now, when you subtract in a normal way, say you do something like, so we got to pick a bigger number, 34 minus 18. What you guys are used to doing is renaming like this. You rename that as a 2 and put a 1 over here, and that makes 14. But what you're really doing is you're saying, well, I have 34, which is the same as 30 plus 4. But I could rename that as 20 plus 10 plus 4, and then group that together as 14, which is basically what happens. We change this to a 2, which is 20, and this becomes a 14. So we change our 34 into 20 plus 10 plus 4, or 14. Then we can subtract. So if 14 take away 8 is 6, and 2 take away 1 is 1, and we get 16. Now when we do it with fractions, it's a little different, because I can't just cross this out and write a 1 over there. It's not 11/4. It's something different, and I have to show you why. Let me get rid of this, because keep this in mind, because this is a big concept. All right, so we're going to rewrite. Let me try getting the right tool here. 2 1/4 minus 1 3/4. So we're going to rewrite it as 1 plus 1 plus 1/4, which is the same as 2. And then we're going to turn that into 1. We're going to change 1 into 4/4. And then we could finally change that into, we're going to combine 4/4 plus 1/4. So it's going to be 1 5/4. Now, 2 1/4 is the same as 1 5/4. I just took one of my pizzas and I cut it into 4/4. I took one of the pizzas and I cut it into 4/4 right there, and then I combined the two. 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay, so if we're going to running out of space, so we're going to have to keep doing this probably. So you need to see it again. It's important. 2 1/4 becomes 1 plus 4/4, that's our 2, plus 1/4, and that becomes 1 and 5/4. Now this is a mixed improper fraction, which is a little strange, but now I can subtract 1 and 3/4. Okay, remember I couldn't do it here. I can't take 3 away from 1, but I can do it here. 3 from 5. 5 take away 3 is 2/4. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so 2/4 is what we got. That was our answer right here. And then it equals 1/2. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it a couple of different ways, though. You guys spent some time learning how to rename fractions, and so we're going to show you two methods. Method number 1 is what I just showed you, 5 1/8 minus 3 3/8. I said eighths, but I wrote down halves. This is 1/8. Hate it when I do that. It makes life hard. Okay. Whoops. Hate it when I do that too. Yep. Okay, 1/8. 5 1/8 take away 3 3/8. I can't take 3 away from 1. So this has to be renamed. So 5 1/8 is equal to 4 plus 1 plus 1/8. And that's the same as 4 plus 8/8 plus 1/8. So it becomes 4 plus, and 8 plus 1 is 9/8. Okay, so instead of 5 1/8, it's 4 9/8. That might take you a little bit of practice, but that's how that works. So then 5 1/8 minus, oops, I went right back to my old tricks. 4 9/8 minus 3 3/8. 9 minus 3 is 6, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So 1 6/8, which is equal to 1 3/4. And that's how you do it. That's method number 1. Now the second method is just to rename everything as an improper or a improper fraction or a fraction greater than 1. So if we were to take 5, let's change colors. 5 1/8 is the same as 41/8. Now there's a couple ways to do that. You can draw your 5 pizzas, and remember that there's 8 in each one. Multiply that. 5 times 8 is 40, plus your 1 leftover slice makes 41. Or you could just multiply 8 times 5 plus 1 to get 41. And then we do the same thing for 3 3/8. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 24 eighths plus the 3/8 is 27/8. All right, now we can subtract 41/8 minus 27/8. And then you just have this regular subtraction problem of 41 take away 27. 11 take away 7 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 14. So it ends up being 14/8, which again becomes 1 6/8, which is 1 3/4. I'm not sure if this was a better method. I think that method number 1 was easier. This was method number 2. But a lot of times method number 2 is easier. Let me show you a simpler one. 3 4/12 minus 1 6/12. Maybe this won't be simpler, but 3 so it's 3 times 12, which is 36, plus 4, so that's 40/12 minus 1 times 12 plus 6 is 12 plus 6 is 18. And then you have to find out what 40 minus 18 is. You got to rename that one 22, which is 1 and 10/12, which is 1 and 6/5. Okay, so we're going to have to work on this together. We'll keep practicing and you'll get the hang of it.